talk about epilepsy, so that's mostly on describing seizures. Just a little bit more, it's generally the disorder itself. We divide, seizures are the symptom, epilepsy is the condition. So it's a disorder of brain characterized by an enduring predisposition to generate epileptic seizures, and also having consequences both neurobiologically, cognitively, and psychologically. And the key thing is, most of us have the same teaching. Usually you need to have at least more than one seizure, at least 2 or more seizures. So this is the practical clinical definition. 3 things here. The first, you need to have at least 2 unprovoked seizures, and the seizures have to be at least 24 hours apart. You often see patients coming in 2 or 3 seizures, one after the other on the same day. By definition, that's considered 1 seizure, 1 unprovoked seizure. So it has to be on 2 separate days before you can call this an epilepsy. Or you have 1 unprovoked seizure, and based on investigations such as brainwave EEGs or brain scans, showing that your risk of recurrence is at least 60% or more over the next 10 years of developing a second unprovoked seizure. So, for instance, if you have 1 unprovoked seizure, you investigate, you find it's got a tumor, and it's got EEG showing spike waves on the same site, then you could categorically call this an epilepsy as well. Or if the diagnosis is of an epilepsy syndrome, which I'll just show you the table later on. Epilepsy syndrome generally is are well-recognized conditions where they have particular EEG findings, clinical findings, and seizure types that are well described. So, why 2? This is a pretty old study done, and what they see is that what's your risk of recurrence after a certain number of seizures. And if you look at it, if you had a single unprovoked seizure, your risk of getting a second unprovoked seizure is about 33% over the next 5 years. But if you had an unprovoked seizure following 2 unprovoked seizures, that risk almost actually more than doubles to about 73%. And every subsequent one after that, the number remains above 70%. So that's where they got this number of 2. Okay. And this is just to show you again how we tend to look into diagnosing or categorizing the seizures. You decide what is the seizure type, whether it's focal, generalized, or unknown, whether it's focal or generalized. If it's 2 or more, or you've got enough clinical or investigative evidence, then you can call that the focal epilepsy, generalized epilepsy. The etiology is important for us to decide what sort of treatment it is, and also if there's additional comorbidities that we need to look at. Okay, and this is just a table, a rather busy table describing some of the known epileptic syndromes. Majority of them actually in pediatric age group rather than adults. Okay, I'll move on to the second part. Is everyone okay so far? Okay, the voice is clear enough, hopefully. Alright, so if somebody comes in with a seizure or some Huntington's fits, what do we do? I think the first goal usually we have to try to find out, is this a seizure or not? And how do we identify that? You go through the history, you go through a physical examination, and physical and neurological examination. Then the next question is, if this was really a seizure, is it a provoked seizure, or is this an unprovoked seizure? So provoked seizures can happen in settings such as infections, drug exposures, injuries, or metabolic disturbances. And finally, if it was an unprovoked seizure, then we have to know what type it is, as how we categorize it earlier on, whether it's focal, generalized. We'd like to have an idea about the pattern of it, or what we term as symptomology, and then normally guide it further, so we can diagnosis by doing further tests. So the common things that we have to find out: age, then you see probably more seizures in 2 age groups. One is in the younger age group, pediatric age group, and also in the elderly,